nerds. This is Being a Nerd. I'm your host, Sarah Belmont, and with me, as always, is our Mr. Producer, Will Polk. How are you doing tonight, Will?
Doing very well, Sarah. Merry Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas Eve, and happy almost New Year.
Yeah, I know. 2024 coming to a quick close.
A quick close. I mean, we did our 2024 in review last week, and I know you have a note because you've thought about it a while. I have not.
No. Well, it was really a note from our discussion tonight about Dune Prophecy, and that's why I put that on there because I was thinking about the list, and I was thinking about how we did our list for the year, and I was thinking about last year with the strike, and like thinking about House of the Dragon and how the strike impacted this season as far as the shows, and thinking about some other things as well. And one of the things I was wondering when I wrote this note last night was, I wonder if the strike impacted Dune. And sure enough, I was listening to the official podcast today, and the showrunner was talking about how the reason why they only had 6 episodes was because it was impacted by the writers and actor strike. So I was like, so that really, and it was what spurred it was our text exchange last night, whenever after we both watched the episode, and that's what kind of got the gears turning after we talked. So it'll be a text. So that's where that note came from.
Yeah. I mean, I recalled you mentioning that throughout the year. You kept bringing up the writer strikes when we were talking about various TV shows. And sure, I get it, shortened seasons, and it screws up with pacing, and they can't fully execute what they can do. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, sure, use that excuse. You got it this season. We'll see what you say next season when you screw something.
For sure. Yeah, everybody's got one mulligan for 2023.
Yeah.
That's it.
You got one legit excuse. Okay, a strike won't happen again for another 10 years. So
yeah.
So just like keep in mind, then you got to deliver the following year even more, because you don't got that excuse. And then if you don't deliver, then it's kind of like, I wonder how much that did affect the previous year. Interesting. Sure. But before we get fully into Dune Prophecy, we do have a very small trailer that nobody's watching, has seen at all. I mean, I feel like we're the only people who are going to ever talk about this trailer, but the little Superman trailer dropped, and it looks like a Superman movie.
Yeah, it looks like a good Superman movie. And I mean, plenty of reactors out there have shared their thoughts, and I won't get into like all the scenes. Everybody's seen it. I mean, hell, it's like I think at least 250 million views over as I think the first 24 hours alone. I think it set a new record for WB and also DC as far as their films. I think it broke I think it actually broke Man of Steel's record. And then of course I think it was over 1 million social posts in that same time period. So no, nobody's talking about this at all. But at least for me, I will say that I did my raw reaction when I first watched it was like, James Gunn, I'm looking forward to July, and my second thought was, I wonder if Marvel's going to like push back Fantastic Four after this, because it comes out 2 weeks after the Superman premieres on July 11th. So that's the only other thing. Those are the two things that like popped out of my head when I first watched the trailer.
Yeah. Trying to think. No, that did move, because I remember Civil War and Batman v Superman were originally slated to come out like within a 2-week period of each other, and then Batman v Superman got pushed to March of that year. Yeah. I don't think anyone is gonna blink in this. I don't think so, because I mean, people have pointed out but this is more like counter programming, but the whole Barbenheimer thing that happened last year.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That could very well happen again here. I mean,
Yeah.
the same people are gonna go and see both movies,
Yeah.
arguably. And then Fantastic Four also has this little known actor who's barely in anything called Pedro Pascal. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the Johnny Storm, I swear, I keep seeing new trailers for movies coming out, and he's in everything these days. Like, who'd have thought that guy from Stranger Things
Yeah.
would just soar? I mean, and
Yeah.
now did you hear the rumor Sadie Sink from Stranger Things is rumored to be Jean Grey?
I heard that. Yes, actually, I saw it. I was watching Snyder's and Roka talk about it live on their show last week, and I was just like, huh, all right.
I was just like, you know what? Perfect, because the way she like held together the first half of season 4, like she was the reason why I was like suddenly interested, and then I would just fast forward through every Millie Bobby Brown scene.
Yeah. Which is, it's same. I mean, she really was the glue to hell. See that, and also, what was the character's name in Stranger Things? Oh gosh,
it's been a while. I'm sorry,
but he had the health.
Their storyline did a lot. But yeah, and we should be talking. We should be able to recall their names much better next year, right? That's when the final season will come out.
That's when it drops. Yep. So
okay.
20. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, getting back to the Superman trailer and all. I mean, I really did enjoy it. I am really looking forward to it. Probably, and I think it the whole they had the whole marketing push. They had the poster dropped, and they had the teaser of the teaser, and then we actually had a teaser. And I just keep thinking, look up, and I like the music that they did it in more of a D minor, I believe, as far as the John Williams theme, and instead of C major. So I was just like, okay, I'm rocking with this, and I'm excited for it. I really am. And maybe this will get you back on the DC train, other than Peacemaker.
I'm off the DC train?
I thought you were. I thought you were done with DC, or just DCEU.
I'm just kind of over studios in general promising things, never delivering, or then delivering them half-ass.
Got it. I don't think this. Yeah.
I call a spade a spade. I call a dud a dud.
True. You do.
Except for like Love and Thunder.
Yes.
Which I still had a good time. Have I watched it again? No.
No, I never will. I will never watch that movie again.
So before we jump into Dune, I would like to say my thoughts, because this is a trailer I actually watched. Because it is a legit teaser. I still don't really know what is happening. I see the montage and I see clips. I feel like they gave away too many of the Lois and Clark kissing scenes, especially one in particular, which I'm like, that would have been better, but we'll see. And I am mainly looking forward to this because of the actress who plays Lois Lane, formerly played Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Everyone knows how much I adored that show and her performance in it. So I really am excited to see that, especially coming off of the final season of Superman and Lois, which we always talked about Lois and that character. So to now go into the theatrical realm with that character and this relationship, I'm excited for all of that. And yes, James Gunn, he's really good. He has delivered some stuff, but he's not. Everyone keep in mind, all filmmakers, like, look at their discography or their filmography, because they're never without their duds. And I'm not saying that this will be one. I don't think it will. But what
No.
I am saying is the man doesn't walk on on water, okay? So
Yeah.
even if he delivers here, it's not gonna like just the Guardians of Galaxy, it's a good trilogy. I don't think it's the best trilogy out there by any means. I think that like there, especially the sequel is very controversial.
Yeah.
Like
2 was
I
weaker.
find a lot of people either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no in between.
Nope.
And for anyone who might be on the in between, they usually then even find more weirdness with the third one. So it's um and I'm also looking forward to Peacemaker 2 right now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Which will come out. I think it's coming out later next year, if I
yeah,
recall. Yeah.
yeah. Cause
Yeah.
cause if he's able to like just sneak in a John Cena headshot at some point in Superman, that'd be hilarious.
That would be. That would be.
I mean,
I wouldn't
if
put
there
it past
could
him.
be like, I don't know, while they're rolling credits, just John Cena coming over and him and Corn Sweat, just like John Cena teaching Corn Sweat the Peacemaker opening dance
Yep.
sequence.
Hmm.
That's what the people would want.
That's what. Yes. Yes.
Come on.
Yes. If that happens, if that happens, wow, that would just like make my movie going year.
Yeah, yeah. Or if there's an opening dance sequence in Superman.
Yeah, yeah. Don't think that's going to be the case, but
I don't
it's
think
very
so either.
likely. It's very likely to have that Cena showing Clark the moves there with Peacemaker,
You
season
know?
1.
But
And
look at
it is within the realm of possibility because we know superheroes exist in this universe. So
But okay, like slow your roll because I think let's go back to this opening dance sequence. And
yeah,
yeah, we're gonna get to Dune Prophecy, but we'll want to talk Superman, so here we are. Um, Guardians of Galaxy 1, technically, the opening was a dance sequence.
it was.
It was.
Yeah,
So that makes me think, actually, now that I look at it more of his history, we might be getting a dance sequence. I don't know.
yeah. We might. That's
I'm
it.
trying to remember if Suicide Squad opened with a dance sequence.
Don't think
Or the Suicide
the
Squad.
Suicide Squad. Yeah, I don't think so. I think they just had the first spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it, I think the first few minutes was just everybody. They had to pull everybody together, and then they all
Right.
got killed. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, we'll see.
But Cena,
Certainly.
but Cena, was very prominently displayed in the first few minutes of that film too. So maybe we'll get it here as well.
I don't know why, but like all I can think about when I think the Suicide Squad is like the giant starfish at the end
Oh yeah,
and just the rat.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do
Like,
need to
I had
over the
very
holiday. Yeah, Weasel.
recollection of that movie.
Yeah, yeah. I do need to watch Creature Commandos. I did it again.
Oh my God. Will, you need to stop saying the title of that show.
Yeah.
Oh my
That show
God.
that's currently on right now in the DC Studios universe. Yeah, that one, Creature with the C. Yeah, I need to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing that's coming out too in January is I said the other thing that's coming out in January too. That's part of the whole Nick Park universe is another Wallace and Gromit. So that's why I was like thinking that again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're off the rails. Get me back on track.
Yeah. Don't worry. Yeah, while you go and handle these creatures, we will also be watching What If, and in 2025 we will break down our thoughts on the final season of What If. And we'll figure out a way. This time of the year we're just wrapping things up, and a new path forward will be set. But all right, let's wrap up Doom
Yeah,
Prophecy.
let's do that. Yep.
As mentioned earlier, there was a text message exchange that mainly consisted of me saying, well, I enjoyed the pilot episode of the of the show. Not that the final hour was the pilot episode, but more so that by the conclusion, you can really, there's a sense of, oh, this is only the beginning. The story, the pieces are now in place for the full story to be told. They just had to set a ton of groundwork. And that was like the first 6 episodes, or these 6 episodes are really the entire pilot of the show itself. And I like it. I really, the word I am constantly going to be using when I'm talking about the show is consistent. They are very consistent. I'm neither blown away by anything, but I'm not underwhelmed either. I'm not like, and I'm just, they got a lot of good mechanics. I still, though, the one thing that I'm still just like, I don't know how to feel is, I don't know, I don't find myself necessarily rooting for anyone. The closest person I'm rooting for is Tula. But everyone else, I'm just like, I don't really know, because either they didn't go into the backstory. Like, we didn't spend enough time with Doretta to really understand her plea. And I think that they did that purposeful, because she really is a villain, and a nemesis for Viola. But we also don't really like Viola either, because she's she's very Viola about things, and it's annoying. And then you got the whole Inez and Kieran situation of it all. But before we get into Will's thoughts, I just want to go through the IMDb summary real quick. For episode 6, The Higher-Handed Enemy, IMDb summarizes this episode as, Tula contends with the stunning reveal of Desmond's true identity. The acolytes uncover a devastating long-held secret about the sisterhood. Meanwhile, Viola executes her plan for Yanez's escape, which leads to an epic confrontation with an increasingly powerful Desmond. Will, what are your thoughts?
Very similar to yours. That I did feel like the pilot, well, the episode 1 and episode 6 were truly bookends of each other, in the sense that we get the story of what happened that night when Viola uses the voice on Doretta to have her kill herself, and then we see it from Tula's perspective. So, because whenever we saw in episode 1, we didn't really have any idea if there were any witnesses to it or not. I can't remember if we speculated about whether or not there were any. But we did get Tula's perspective, as well as the other 2 sisters, as part of their little group. And so I thought that, so to get
sorry, I just want to point out who were also, that was Kasha and Francesca, right?
That's right.
Yeah, which is very important, because I didn't even think about that, and why those 2 sisters were so key in terms of the events of this season. Because as we later get into the episode, we get the confirmation about the imprinting, Francesca with Habaco, and of course, and again, there were just a whole plan, and really set up a lot in the opening minutes. Actually, when I first started watching it, I was just like, did I fast forward by mistake to another thing? But then I realized, I was like, oh no, this is getting other folks' perspectives. And I thought that was a very solid way to start the episode, to just sort of, again, given that this was the finale, and it truly was a finale. I mean, it had it definitely ended a lot of many of the pieces that were set up throughout this season, but also by either design or by just running out of time, led
things on the table to be explored in a future season, which we did get confirmation this week, just before we get deeper into our discussion here, that the show was renewed for a second season. So thankfully we didn't get a situation where we get an ending where they're on that we got, and then we were like, okay, what happens? Because because like you said, I mean, this show was very consistent, and it reached a point as the more I watched it, the more I appreciated what they were doing. I mean, and you're right. There were certain, I mean, there was a consistency about how they were going about this story. And then there were like multiple what the fuck moments throughout this episode, since it was a season finale. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, yeah. So like, let's just stick on the flashbacks because they run these throughout, not just the opening sequence, but throughout the episode. And I did notice the editing tricks that they used were very good, very good.
Yeah.
And they tell arguably two different sets of flashbacks that are kind of throughout the same timeline, because not only did we not realize that Tula watched her sister commit this act of murder, essentially, but she also then very quickly admitted that she was pregnant with a part Atreides. And surprisingly, in that moment, when you think you understand Viola, she says, "Oh, we can raise it together."
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't see that one coming.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, Tula did not know how to feel about that either.
Yeah.
She's like, nope, not gonna let my sister near this kid.
Yeah.
It's a very heartbreaking scene to watch Tula hold her child, and then for was it Kasha or was it Francesca? I think it was Francesca who comes in and says, "Okay, we have the stillborn." And then the exchange, because and you're like, it just reminds me about all the times throughout this show when there are moments of between Tula and the other sisters of like about sacrifice and giving things up, and she gave it up because she couldn't let, and I thought it was a very well done monologue that Tula delivers about how she wanted to gift her son freedom.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that would be by giving him up. Unfortunately, simultaneously in present day, she is trying to reconcile with the fact that by giving him freedom, she allowed a bigger enemy to obtain him and manipulate and reconfigure him into this weapon. And it's just, I was like, wow, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, that scene was pretty intense and very powerful moment. I mean, I think they did a solid job of casting the younger actresses to play these Tula and Viola, and it really just frames why Tula, when she's older, why she was so, like you said, why she had these maternal feelings as far as protection with Lila. So I mean, it did, so it really, I think for me, it was just like watching that. It just contextualizes so much about what was going on this season. So yes, there were some places where they could have gone a little bit deeper, but at the same time, they had enough depth as far as things as the season went through, that whenever we got these moments here in the finale, it's just like, okay, yeah, that makes total sense now. Why decisions and motivations and actions were made by these characters in the prior 5 episodes.
Oh, I think with Tula, they went the deepest, arguably. with her character for sure. I think that we have Tool in the present, and one of the best scenes in this episode for me is when they realize what they have to do in terms of trying to figure out and understand this virus. And there was something so cool about how they managed to because we've seen now this virus attack in a few different ways, and but we've never seen it in this way, where they had the DNA and the particles via screen, and then you're watching the currents and the whole sequence. I was riveted by for some reason. I was like, they're not doing that much, but for some reason, between the acting and the visuals, you really do, you're like them, and you understand what this is doing when we say it feeds off fear. And then you see it more personified at the end with Viola. So and I think they did that purposely, because I don't think you would understand as much as when you go through the experience with Viola than without understanding the science behind it, or the mythology behind it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that I was thinking that total thing when they were, again, they did, as you said, they were very consistent, and they were, the way they structured these things, they do build on each other. So yes, the show didn't have a lot of, it was very talky. There were some pacing issues at times, but at the end of the day, to your point, whenever they have these set pieces like they did in this episode, the payoff was clearly there with Viola, especially when we saw the external manifestation of the I think it was the Omicron virus, but omnibus virus or whatever it's called. But whatever, whenever, the middle of the episode when Tula and the other sister were
it wasn't Lila who was with them.
No, Viola at the end.
Viola. Okay. Yeah. I just wanna go through the acolyte situation, because I found it funny. Like, we know why Tula left, but I think it was very important for it to be like building up to this point of, clearly the acolytes are riling up. They're about to start a rebellion, and Tula is just in her own world, realizes her son is alive, being used against her and her sister, and all of this stuff and all of this guilt, and the whole line, sisterhood above all. Well, Viola, in the past, we do see a scene where it's sisters above all. And I think in this episode, it's very clear for Tula, it's motherhood above all. And so she abandons her flock, and that's when Doretta just goes full, is like, okay, Raquella, you can step aside. Let me fully come to life and rile my troops. The one thing that I hope they flesh out and make clear in the next season is Sister Jen. The only sister that we're aware of who has not been affected by the virus. We don't know why. And for some reason, Doretta allows her to live.
Yeah.
She's clearly not on Team Doretta. I don't think she's necessarily on Team Viola either, but she's definitely like, my friend is still in there and being her body is being used against her own free will. So I think she's more like, set Lila free. This isn't right.
And maybe Lila is the one that's keeping either Raquella or Doretta from killing her. Because that was one of those pieces where I was just like, oh gosh, they're going to it was telegraphed.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
I didn't realize. Well, it goes back to this thing. I did not realize. I knew that Doretta had followers,
yeah,
but I didn't understand exactly or question where did the followers go.
mhm,
And then when it was also revealed it was at the bottom of that well, I was like, "Oh, that's why they keep looking over there."
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I was like, "Is there a monster in there?" I don't understand, but no, Doretta reveals all of the skeletons.
that's
I
where the
also was
bodies really are
like,
buried.
I was also like, okay, they're not that old.
Yeah,
They're already in skeleton forms? Like that's it. That's I don't think that,
yeah.
but whatever.
30 years. I mean, that's long enough.
Yeah, okay, okay. I don't know much. I don't know much about decomposing bodies. So if you tell me, okay.
Yeah.
So that all made sense. I just wish I would have understood more about the gen of it all
Hmm.
because she not affected by the virus.
Hmm.
And there has to be a reason for that. And we learn more about the virus because we learn that it's a essentially nano thinking machines,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there because towards the end of this episode that we're not at,
Hmm.
because it's also a heck of a long episode,
Yeah.
but there's a nephew
Yep.
who returns home. And I've seen enough episodes of Flash to understand what nanotechnology means. And he like gathers all of these nanobots in his house and then watches like surveillance footage of his aunt.
Yep.
To me, that's a hint that the Harkonnens are behind this technology.
That's a very strong possibility. I mean, they definitely plan. There's two. There's nothing that they put in the show that doesn't have a meaning about for the larger story.
Right, especially because it's the final episode. I don't did we see him in last week? Yeah, we saw him a
Yeah,
little
we
bit
saw him
with
briefly with
Desmond.
Desmond at the very beginning.
We
Yeah.
saw him, but haven't really seen him. And then they just show one random scene with him that arguably to save on time they could have cut
Hmm.
unless it had a purpose.
Right.
And so I think that they're either alluding that he's behind it or he's in cahoots with someone because the Harkonnens don't fall too far from the tree. Come on.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I think he definitely is an agent for whoever's behind this. I don't think
Yeah.
he doesn't strike me as a type that would be smart enough to like come up with this on his own. But he definitely can be the foot soldier for who did.
Yeah, he's a Havako.
Yeah.
Okay? He's a Havako, which
Yeah.
Havako arguably like one of my least favorite characters. However, he delivers one hell of a line
Hmm.
and then kills himself.
Yeah. The one time he finally grew a backbone.
I had the same thought. I was like, "You're finally seeing the world," because
Yeah.
he says like, um, "It's a strange thing when you realize you never learned one moment of freedom," and
Hmm.
then just kills himself.
Yeah.
And you think I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow," and then only for Francesca to bend down and for Natalie to just casually walk in and slip
Yeah.
and
Natalia gets the poison pen and just sticks it in her.
just sticks her in her and then does this and like I feel as though it was very symbolic and paid a
Mhm.
little bit of an homage to Romeo and Juliet for
Yeah.
some reason.
Mm. Mm.
Not to say that I fully understand the imprinting and their love affair or anything, but I felt like the way they played it out, it felt like a very tragic moment between
Yeah.
these two people because
Yeah.
I could tell like imprinting or not, Francesca did
She
seem
cared.
to have true feelings,
She did. She did.
but sisterhood above all.
Yeah.
So
She did.
what's the sister to do? And the Empress Natalia, throughout the entire season, I've been like, what is your game?
Mm-hmm.
And um they did not misuse her.
No.
They didn't make her seem stupid or anything. I think they did a very interesting job of taking these characters and putting them into a stereotype.
Yep.
And then for us to watch how, okay, we told you that this character is the Empress and knows her husband is cheating on her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we did not tell you that she is not going down without a fight and she's going to go and hook up with Desmond.
Nope.
Get the most weird person on her side. And that scene where she puts Havoko in his place. I mean, Will, we should have seen Havoko killing himself coming, considering his daughter ends up in jail.
Mm-hmm.
He begs for mercy with Viola, only for Viola to just be like, "Oh, you're such a fool. I don't need you.
Yep.
You may need me in this instance, but dude, I don't need you. And oh yeah, nothing you do right now is of your own free will. So goodbye."
Yeah. Speaking of that, before we move from that point, as far as the free will, I did like how they really played into the whole I guess later the Bene Gesserit get into this with our manufacturer Paul Atreides, but the bigger, they were showing those early seeds of how the sisterhood with Desmond's lineage, as far as figuring out that he's destined for great things, but also how they matched Havoko and Natalia. I'm glad they added that element to it as well, to really, so that whenever, to that point, getting back to the scene in question here, when she points that out, that we planned this, and it just really like adds just an extra level of depth and like kicking a man when I won't say kick him when he's down, but like just like we've been pulling, we're puppet masters. You've been a puppet all this time.
I feel like in that scene, Viola actually does serve as a truth-sayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say that for a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it was no, are they telling the truth? No, it's like, I'm telling you the actual truth, verbatim. And the viewers know it. As the viewers are totally on board with the lying that the truth-sayers do, the manipulation tactics that occur with them. So I think that's why it was like, oh, dude, she's actually telling you the truth. And he believes it too, to some extent. It's just the wool got removed, the curtain got removed from his eyes, and then he's like, I don't know how to live in this world now knowing this.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I mean, you're right. I mean, from that moment, it was, I didn't know how he was going to go out, but at that moment I was like, he ain't gonna make it out of this season.
Yeah. I mean, once Viola says he gotta go, like bye. Bye.
Yep. Yeah.
Your time has come to an end.
Yep.
But and then this leads into, so by saying that she gets thrown in jail, which was on purpose because she wants to free Inez. Okay. Okay, Inez. And Inez puts up a fight and says Kieran too. Which, and there is a little bit of like Kieran at the beginning when we see him, no Australian accent. I was very mindful of this episode of tracking an Australian or a British accent. No, but I swear last week he had one.
Yeah.
Very annoying.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll return in season 2. But so there was foreshadowing about how he, being an Atreides, would never trust a Harkonnen. Well, unbeknownst to him, by the end of this episode, him, Inez, and a Harkonnen end up on a Arrakis. So what you gonna do? Good luck with
He's like, yeah, but he made it very clear. I'm not doing it for you, Valia Harkonnen. I'm doing it for her.
Yeah. But at the same time, Valia is just like, I'm not doing this for you either. I'm doing this for
like, doing this for me. Yeah. We're gonna go to Arrakis for like,
I don't know if it's for me, because despite what Inez may think she understands, she's still a pawn too.
Yeah. And another thing too is, who was very conspicuously absent this episode?
Who?
Constantine.
Oh yeah. I had that thought, and then I was like, did they already send him to Arrakis, and that's why they ended up there, because he
was named head of the fleet. So
So
I guess the fleet's already at Arrakis, or was that? Well, I guess that's where the conflict was going on.
Yeah, because he wasn't around for any of this, so he wouldn't have let Inez get thrown into jail. So I think, and that's Natalia isn't his mom. So I think he was like, they had the dinner party and then he immediately left.
Because Salvaco finally, they put that in motion, which, with Francesca, and he turned in, because he was the one that turned in Kieran, so that was how he was able to get his father's favor. So and also with this the whole sequence there, as far as Theodosia, with Valia basically leaving her behind to be a distraction, and then of course Theodosia also shapeshifts again to be one of the soldiers there to when Desmond shows up, slow him, not only slowed him down, not maybe the way Valia thought she was going to slow him down.
Well, she did what, but is Theodosia dead or just captured?
I
couldn't tell.
I could not tell, because the first time, obviously she was Inez, but then she changed it into one of the soldiers there on the floor that was wounded.
Yeah, I'm talking about the last time though, because Desmond, he calls her an abomination because she partly shapes back, and he's like, "What is this?" Which is ironic.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell if it was like lock this up or get rid of this abomination, meaning like she's dead.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see next season. Or maybe we won't. Or maybe there's a reason why it's ambiguous, because she can technically turn into all these characters who and just randomly they're gonna play a card. Oh, that wasn't that. That was Theodosia.
Yeah.
So it all escalates until to them running away from the castle and trying to get on a flight out. And Violet finally stops and says like she'll battle Desmond. And she gets infected by the virus, and they did something very unexpected, which was they did a flashback we heard the story about the first time she ever used the voice, which was to save her brother Griffin from drowning. And we experienced that, and the whole time I'm like, this is your fear, but you saved him. And which does occur, but then upon saving him, he then turns and says, you did this, you killed. And it's more of that fear that his ultimate death was her fault.
Because of what happened at the dinner table.
Exactly. And that's really the fear. And then we get the rippling and then the fear escalates the same way. Like everyone's fear is different with all of these characters. So you see the part that's different, but then it culminates into the reveal of the worm, which the galaxy itself is fearful of the monsters on that planet. because there are beasts that can't be controlled. But even I pointed out to you, I want to say very early on when we first saw the blue eyes, I was like, why does it look like there's a thinking, like a thinking bot within the worm? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
And it's because more so the virus is a thinking machine and the worm is just an illusion of it. And this goes back to, I think, something that we've touched on throughout the season about they did a very good job of this whole balance between the thinking machinery and then the mythology, religious aspects of this world. And because like obviously we understand like AI and why yeah, that's cool, advancement of technology, while at the same time you're like, okay, that can go a bit too far. Have you seen Westworld? Okay. But then you have like a legit monster on a planet with a valuable resource. And there's like you can equate it in real world to tornadoes, to hurricanes and earthquakes, and like I don't know, there's something very fascinating about that I feel like I got more out of this show than I did out of the two movies.
Really?
Yeah. I think there were enough touches, especially in Dune 2, that made me really like, okay, I could get on board with this. And then I heard some discussions about Dune 2, and I was like, okay, as people are starting to color in the boxes a bit more about what's cool and why Dune has been talked about for a few decades now. That it made me curious. And mainly the Jesuits side of it all. Like like it's like, okay, what's going on there? What's with these witches?
For sure. Yeah. I think that, with the whole thinking machines and everything you just said, I co-sign, because I feel the same way. This was, because it took me a while just to get through part 1 of Dune. But I still have to watch part 2. But but now I'm looking forward to, like, I think when I watch part 2 now, I think I will be able to appreciate it more than I would have if I had, prior to watching this show. Because you're right. I mean, I think it does fill it. They do a good job of filling in the lore, giving some more, again. I know I'm overusing the word contextualize tonight, but I mean, it really does contextualize things in so many ways, especially like when we see, for example, when Desmond is, when they do put the thinking machine in his eye.
Yeah.
And but they also, have that figure off in the distance, and we, like, as we were just trying to just figure if it was is Haro working with them, or who, is this another thinking machine? Is this just is this because it is another sister? I mean, as far as the sisterhood, I mean, is it Raquella? I mean,
sister. It might be another Harkonnen. I don't think it's a sister.
Well, I was thinking if it were a sister, I was thinking like maybe Raquella, because of the because she was very sympathetic, obviously, towards the thinking machines, with given that she did have the honorable machine there on Wallach 9. So
I don't know if that was sympathetic or I need this to do my work.
Yeah, I guess that's what. Yeah, I guess.
Power. So, yeah.
But I mean, it's just so many mysteries and threads that we, like I said, they answered a lot of questions, but they put a big one out with that reveal of how Desmond became the transmitter of the virus.
Yeah. No, I think you will have a very good time if you watch Dune 2 over break or in the near future,
Yeah.
coming off of this show, because I even had a moment when Valia was just taking out guards left and right with the voice, thinking to myself like, oh, I forgot that the nobody knows about the voice.
Right.
Which so we saw the origin story, which is so not like wasn't in my consciousness just because it was used so much in the movies and talked about, and to the point where when Paul and his mom get captured in the first one, like the guards are very adamant about covering their mouths. Like they can't use the voice because, and then we see them escape because they were able to manipulate the situation and everything and get those, and like that's a powerful tool that started 10,000 years ahead of that. And that's really where I also want to leave it is this show is this idea that I still have a problem, and I think it could become more inflamed in the second season, because I watched this happen with House of Dragon. Because with House of Dragon, we throughout, especially the second season, the Song of Ice and Fire. Song of Ice and Fire happened 200 years later, and we all, like a lot of us, watched Game of Thrones, and that was the Song of Ice and Fire. So to watch characters be fearful about stuff that the viewer already knows will happen not in present time. That gets the stakes. I don't know if it just weakens the stakes because you're, as a viewer, you're just like you feel like people are talking about the end of the story, but you've already watched that play out, and it has nothing to, like, it's just weird. And so I know that they're not necessarily talking about the Messiah, aka Paul, but they do keep referencing the reckoning. And I don't know how many seasons you can get out with like this fear of the reckoning coming.
Yeah.
And not tie it somewhat to something that will happen 10,000 years later. I don't know, but they somewhat do to an extent. And I'll let you watch Dune 2, and then you can, and we might have a sidebar conversation about what I'm alluding to, about they do somewhat talk about, I can see how this plan of theirs essentially does come fulfilled with Paul.
Okay.
Essentially. Yeah. So it's maybe that's why I always give Inez the side eye, because I'm like, I don't think she's the one, guy. I don't think she's the one. But anyway, well, it was a good show.
It was. Yeah. Like I said last week, I'm glad that you like picked this one for us to be the show to wrap up the year with, along as a companion to our Superman and Lois discussions earlier. But this was a strong show. I think it was overall, like I said, I think it was. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I got renewed for a second season because, as I said last week, and even more so after this finale, I'm definitely vested now. And it's got me a new appreciation of the Dune franchise.
Yeah, I'm more invested now than I was after watching both movies. Both movies, though, do have points. Like, you watch the first one for Oscar Isaac, okay?
Yeah.
There's still scenes from that first one I can visualize in my mind, and I've only ever seen that movie once. Dune 2, similar. There are scenes I can visualize. It moves a lot quicker. But at the same time, I think I have more respect for it and more
Mhm.
appreciation for it now than I did when I first watched it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, on that note, Will, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, wish everyone a happy holidays and look forward to you all joining us in 2025. And you can find me on the socials at Will and Polk, WILLMPOLK.
And you can find me there too at SJ Belmont, SJBLMONT. Please follow our crew on Twitter at Scene and Nerd, friend on Blue Sky at Scene and Nerd. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and threads at scene_n_nerd, and visit our website, www.sceneandnerdpodcast.com. But most importantly, rate, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.